Hello everyone, I'm Mansi and today I'll be discussing India's demographic advantage in the context of Indian economy and policy. India is often seen as a young and fast-growing economy, but the real question is, can this demographic advantage actually translate into sustained economic growth? In this presentation, I'll explore what the demographic dividend means, what conditions are required to realize it, and whether India is on the right path to convert this opportunity into long-term economic value. As shown in this slide, a demographic dividend occurs when a country has a higher proportion of working age population compared to dependents, creating a structural advantage for growth. India's window is expected to last until around 2040, with over 65% of its population below the age of 35. This makes India one of the youngest major economies globally, especially when compared to aging economies like Japan and Europe. However, a key point here is that demographics alone do not create value, they only create potential. Whether this potential is realized depends entirely on how effectively the workforce is utilized. This slide highlights the three critical factors that determine whether the demographic dividend actually pays off: employment, employability, and productivity. First, employment. India adds millions to its workforce every year, but job creation must keep pace. Otherwise, it leads to a structural gap between available jobs and job seekers. Second, employability. There is a significant skill gap. Many firms report difficulty in finding qualified talent despite high unemployment, which creates an economic inefficiency. Third, productivity. Without improvement in education, training, and technology adoption, a large workforce does not necessarily translate into higher output. So, alignment across these three dimensions is essential to convert potential into actual growth. The next slide focuses on the structural transformation required in the economy. A large share of India's workforce is still employed in agriculture, which contributes a relatively small portion to GDP. This indicates underemployment rather than productive employment. For the demographic dividend to materialize, workers needs to shift from low productivity sectors such as agriculture to high productivity sectors such as manufacturing, formal services, and digital industries. This transition requires sustained investment in infrastructure, industrial policy, and human capital development. Urbanization plays a dual role as both an opportunity and a risk. Cities act as center of productivity, innovation, and job creation. Rural to urban migration improves resource allocation and enables economies of scale which can accelerate growth. However, as this slide highlights, rapid and unplanned urbanization can lead to congestion, informal employment, and pressure on public services. If not managed properly, these challenges can reduce the very efficiency gains that urbanization is supposed to deliver. India's demographic phase coincides with a unique global opportunity. As developed economies age, there is a growing demand for labor, manufacturing capacity, and skilled services. India is already a global leader in IT and business process outsourcing. The next phase involves leveraging manufacturing relocation and integrating into global value chains. However, as highlighted here, realizing this opportunity requires consistent policy support, ease of doing business, and deeper global trade integration. Importantly, domestic job creation must grow alongside global opportunities. This slide highlights the risk where the demographic dividend can turn into a burden. First, youth unemployment. If job creation does not match population growth, it becomes a drag on the economy. Second, regional disparities. India's states are aging at different rates, creating uneven economic and fiscal pressures. Third, female labor force participation remains low, which is one of the most underutilized growth levers. So, the same demographic structure that creates opportunity also carries significant downside risk if not managed properly. To convert this opportunity into reality, policy execution becomes critical. As shown in this slide, key policy levers include labor market reforms to balance flexibility with worker protection and investment in manufacturing and digital sectors to boost productivity. Skill development and vocational training are essential to bridge the employability gap, especially through apprenticeships and competency-based learning. Finally, increasing female workforce participation by removing barriers and improving support system can significantly amplify the demographic dividend. To conclude, India's demographic dividend is a time-bound opportunity rather than a guaranteed outcome. A young population can drive long-term growth, but only if supported by right policies, job creation, and skill development. Ultimately, India's demographic advantage is not about the size of its population, it's about how effectively that population is integrated into a productive economic system. That's all. Thank you.